Yo, welcome to Market Analysis hosted by StockBet. We're doing a show where we go over the top 5 trending stocks every day and give you our analysis, not financial advice. Today we're doing SP 500, Apple, Tesla, Walmart, and AMD. So let's get started. Number one, SP 500. So the market, it has been pretty ugly last week. Supposedly it went down because of Omicron fears, but we all know that's not true. Maybe partially a little bit. But what I personally think is two things. Number one, profit taking. The market has been very overextended for the past few months, and right now we obviously need to cool down and form a new base, right? And that's when people take profit. That's number one. Number two, probably more important, is inflation fears. Inflation, we all know, is obviously not transitory, right? The Feds will have to raise rates eventually, and raising rates is bad for growth stocks, and that's what's been dragging the market down, especially for the last week. Going into the SP 500 itself, let's take a look at the price action last week. We had a collapse, obviously, and then the next day we had a dead cat bounce, right? This was the spinning top doji. Obviously, there was no momentum here, right? Dead cat bounce. Next day we went down 2%, and the day after we went down 1%, right? It looks pretty ugly. It's a huge bearish engulfing candle, and guess what? We had another dead cat bounce. I'm not sure if this is a dead cat bounce or we're just forming the base. At this point, obviously the bounce, it wasn't very significant, right? Obviously, for V-shaped bounces, for quick recoveries, we want to see big bullish engulfing candles that are larger, taller, right? Moving more price than the previous bearish engulfing candle. In this case, it wasn't true. On Friday, it looked super ugly. Honestly, last Friday, I was prepared to sell all my long positions. I prepared to increase my hedge because it was getting ugly. But the market close gave me a little bit of hope, right? So, ignoring the last 30 minutes of the trading day, we actually, looking at the daily chart, we were all the way down here, right? If we closed below the previous resistance, we obviously would have, went straight down to 447. So that would have been a disaster. And that's why the last few minutes was very crucial, because now, guess what, right? Because of all that buying in the last 30 minutes, we parked exactly at a previous resistance level, which is now giving us the support. So now I'm kind of a little bit bullish, and that's why I'm actually buying the dip on my long positions, not financial advice. But since I'm buying the long position, I'm buying the dip, I'm long the stock, I want to hedge just in case the SP 500 goes down again, right? Goes down to our target of 447. So in case that happens, I am going to hedge. And our show is sponsored by, again, hosted by StockBet, StockBet.io, right? Where you can easily hedge against any single stock, right? Very easy. We aim to use a decentralized liquidity pool, so there's always a way for you to hedge against something, no matter the volume. All right, so since I bought the dip on my long positions, I want to hedge against that dip. So I went ahead and I bet 100 that SPY goes red tomorrow. So in case it goes red tomorrow, right, I lose my long-term portfolio, but the hedge I made here will actually make up my losses. That's what I'm going for. Right now, SP 500, let's take a look. Right, 52%, 48%. So right now, the users on StockBet is probably pricing in. Is probably just very even. People think it's going to go green. People think it's going to go red. People are hedging on both directions pretty much equally right now. But just a disclaimer: StockBet.io is a startup. We are in the process of getting regulated, but we are not yet officially regulated. So please make sure to sign up at your own risk. Right. Mainly right now we're just running. We're getting users and we're getting feedback from users to iterate and improve our product. And we've gotten very good user feedback already. But please note that we are not yet regulated, but we're in the process of doing it. That's just a quick disclaimer. All right. Number two, after SPY, we're going to go to Apple. And Apple, it hasn't been doing badly for the last week, right? So while the markets, again, let's look at the Qs, has been going straight down, Apple is still near all-time highs, right? We're like, what, $5 away from all-time highs, $10 away from all-time highs on Apple? That's pretty insane, right? So let's just zoom back a little bit and see the long-term outlook of Apple. Remember this triangle we went over, a few weeks ago, right? We broke through this, symmetric triangle in a breakout, and now we're just keep going up and up and up and up. But let's take a look at the weekly. The weekly does not look so pretty. Last week, it was just an ugly candle. And what does this mean? It probably means in the next week or so, Apple will go down, right? So unfortunately for StockBet, we don't have a weekly bet option. We'll be implementing that soon. But this on the weekly chart, at least for Apple, signals the top, right? This this wick here is way too long. It's called a graveyard formation, graveyard candle, whatever you call it, right? So previously, for example, look at here, we had a mini top here, and then we sold off all the way down here, and again here, again we had a huge long wick at the top, huge long wick at the top, right? So usually when you see these candles, it's a pretty bearish feeling. So going back to daily now. So what are we gonna do for the foreseeable future? So we know on a weekly timeline, Apple will be going down, and so let's use that framework and look at daily. So if we know weekly is gonna go down short, that means daily is probably gonna go down as well. So where's the next support? The closest support. The closest support is all the way down at 157.24. It's all the way down here, and not financial advice, but weekly is going to go down. So what's going to happen daily? Daily is going to be approaching this level as well. So I think Apple will actually go down. And we're not in a position in Apple, so we're actually not going to be hedging the opposite direction. Since we think Apple is going to go down, we're going to go on StockBet.io and hedge and actually just bet that Apple will go down tomorrow. Right now it's pretty even, so we're going to take advantage of this. I'm going to bet another $100 just that Apple will go down tomorrow, right? So this again, in this time, we're not really using it to hedge, but we're still using it as an options alternative. So options, let me show you options. For options, I gotta look at all of this. So you guys see the screen, right? I don't understand any of this. Regular folks don't understand any of this. I just went on StockBet.io and bet that Apple went down, right? Because that's all I care about. I don't care about the Greeks. I care about price direction, and I just did that easily in like 5 seconds. Again, we are not yet currently regulated, but we are accepting some beta users to give us feedback. All right, number 3, Tesla. Tesla is a favorite of people's, but last week it went from 1150 to around 1,000. So 1,000 is pretty much a support right now, and it looks pretty ugly, guys. Right? But let me show you the weekly perspective first. From a weekly perspective, we went all the way down. We went from what 550, 570, all the way down, all the way up. We doubled to 1,200. So that's pretty impressive. But right now, after this huge run up, it's time for it to form a base. And guess what? The last time we ran up this high, we tried to form a base near the top, but eventually it crashed back down. So looking at now, right? So obviously, in the long term, Tesla's gonna go up. But right now, I think Tesla will eventually have to form a new support, and I don't think 1,000 is the support. 1,000, most likely 900 is probably pretty good support. But that being said, I still think we will be spending some more time just in this area, in this range, from 1,000 to 1,100. Just sit there for a little bit, and then we break down. So knowing that, let's go back to the daily. So we know that in the long term, right, we will go all the way down probably here, 900. But in the short term, we can see a bounce coming, right? Just looking at daily perspective, ignoring the weekly outlook. From a daily perspective, we are at the near support. And what happens at support, you probably bounce up. So this most likely will be determined by the price action of the overall market tomorrow. If the overall market price action, Tesla makes up a huge portion as SPY. So if SPY goes up tomorrow, then Tesla will also most likely go up tomorrow. And again, in this case, we don't own any Tesla stock, so we don't need to hedge against anything. But instead of buying call options on Tesla, which I don't understand, I'm just going to simply bet that Tesla bounces and closes green tomorrow. So let's go to StockBet.io, go to Tesla. Well, so users on StockBet are actually pricing in that Tesla will go red tomorrow. So this gives us a higher return, so that's pretty good for us. So if we are correct on this directionally, and then we're going to probably make double our money, make 100% return, right? You can't really do that easily with options, especially if Tesla just barely closes green tomorrow, right? Another advantage that StockBet has. All right, we're gonna keep this video short. Let's go to number 4, Walmart. All right, this is waste management. Walmart. All right, this is Walmart. Walmart, obviously, looking at this, we're at a support. We're going to be bouncing. This is pretty easy, right? Pretty easy, to just place bets directionally, in my opinion, right? Going over, let's look at weekly and see if it gives any ideas. So weekly is actually not looking that great because weekly actually broke down our channel over here. We drew this channel all the way back, around 2018, right? And then now we actually failed to bounce here, and we actually broke through the bottom of the ascending channel. So that's pretty bearish. But in the short term, again, looking at a short-term perspective, we're at a very, very strong support, right? We have held this position since what, March, and it's being tested once, twice, three times, four times. This is the fifth time it's been testing, and I just don't think that we will go down tomorrow for Walmart. For Walmart, especially if the overall market, which is primed to look for a bounce tomorrow, if the overall market is going to go green, I think Walmart's going to go green. So I'm just going to go on StockBet real quick. Instead of buying complicated options, I just can go to StockBet, find Walmart. Again, it's 50-50 right now. Pretty good for us, right? Click green, 100, bam, that easy. All right, our last stock. Our last stock is going to be AMD. AMD, everyone loves AMD. People who bought AMD at $15 a few years ago are happy, right? Let's go to the monthly view. When people bought AMD at what, like $15 here, just you're loving life. But you know, we had another run up recently as well. We went up 30% in November alone. So after that kind of run up, it's time to again, like the previous run ups, after a huge run up, right now we need to take some time to form a base before the next leg up. And right now that's exactly where we're at. All right, let's go back to the daily. Well, but what's scary about the daily is that there is no support, right? The closest support is what, like 138, probably. And right now, look at the MACD. The MACD, we're just closing red. There's a lot of room down here we can go to, right? So obviously, AMD is looking very, very bearish right now. And also, what goes up must come down, right? So look at this, went up and then we went down, right? So around this area, there is really no support. So that's why you see the stock keep going down, because there is no previous support. So that's why it's going to slowly go down, and that's what's going to happen. I personally think it's going to happen. Not financial advice, not StockBet advice, just personal advice that AMD will most likely go red tomorrow. However, again, we are going to be betting just a little bit that it goes green. It goes red. So instead of betting 100, we're going to bet 50 because we're actually not too sure about this position. Even though AMD itself is looking pretty bearish, the overall market will be bullish, so that kind of counteracts. So we're actually very not sure. I will actually suggest you guys not to just even bet AMD for tomorrow because there is no clear direction. In that case, it will actually harm. It wouldn't do any good for retail investors. All right, so that's pretty much it. I really appreciate your feedback. If you can give me feedback, I'll really appreciate it. Right, and that's it. Right, that's it. If you have any questions, let me know. About StockBet, again, we're not yet regulated, but we will be. We're working on it. I've had a few meetings with lawyers. We're working on the process, but check it out, StockBet.io. I'll see you next time.